Okay, in this episode of Ivory GC, we're joined by Marla Crawford, General Counsel at Simplify, a leading provider of integrated legal services and technology. With over 35 years of experience, Marla has a remarkable career trajectory, having spent 22 years at Jones Day and 11 years at Goldman Sachs, where she pioneered e-discovery programs and managed complex litigation. She's now leading the charge at Simplify, a company that's revolutionizing the e-discovery and contract analytics space with innovative tech solutions. In our conversation, we'll discuss how legal tech is reshaping the industry, the challenges and successes she's faced throughout her career, and what legal teams can do to stay ahead of emerging trends. Marla, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for the warm welcome.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. And why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about your current role at Simplify and telling us a little bit about the company more generally.
Thank you. I'm the General Counsel of Simplify. Simplify is basically an e-discovery, managed review, contract analytics company. We use leading edge technology to solve data problems. I've been here now 4 years, and it has been a fascinating time in our company. We have grown tremendously in a short period of time, and that brings a lot of excitement and challenges and opportunity. I'm on the executive team, so I'm one of the 4 people on the team really leading the day-to-day, and that's been eye-opening for me, seeing the business side of the service provider industry, in addition to, the legal work that I do, which is, second nature to me, but the business opportunities have really been fascinating.
So tell us a little bit about the size of the company. How many employees do you have?
We have about 200 employees now.
Okay.
We are an affiliate of a billion-dollar company called System One that provides certain administrative support. So almost all of our 200 employees are actually doing sales or delivery.
Got it. And so your footprint geographically, is it national, international?
We're a national company, but we recently made a big splash opening in the UK.
Oh, okay. And what do your operations in the UK look like? How many folks do you have there, and what are you doing out of that office?
We have both a contract team and we have an e-discovery team now in the UK with one salesperson there. And we partner a lot with Relativity, DocuSign, other companies to service clients in the UK. But it it evolves because you get a UK client, then that UK client has an affiliate in the EU. So
Yeah.
things are growing on the pretty quick side.
Yeah, good. And your legal team, are you solo, or do you have others supporting you in the internal legal function?
I'm a solo, except I have this fabulous person who helps me with the contracts. And although not a lawyer, is as good as any lawyer I've met
Yeah.
in terms of contracting. So
Yeah.
he provides me, his name is Mike Krieger. Shout out to Mike. He provides me tremendous support.
Yeah, I've seen that too, that there is a lot that non-attorneys can offer when it comes to just thinking critically about what are in contracts under the supervision, of course, of an attorney. But yeah, that they're finding smart people can really add a lot of value regardless of whether they've passed the bar or not. So a little bit more of the specifics about Simplify. What kind of services and technology platforms are you providing? How are you servicing your customers?
So we are an e-discovery firm, so we can do any sort of processing, forensic collections, hosting, data review, managed review. We provide people and technologies for the review of the information. And then we have a whole separate division that's on the contract side, advising and implementing contract lifecycle management solutions, and also building AI models to understand questions about data sets of contracts.
Got it. Got it. And your career trajectory before joining Simplify is really impressive. You started at Jones Day and spent time at Goldman Sachs. Tell us a little bit about that experience and what you've taken into your role at Simplify.
Jones Day was I was a summer associate there and I worked there for 22 fine years. I loved working there. It was a wonderful place for me and it was an opportunity that changed the course of my life because I worked on the Enron case, leading the discovery for our client Lehman Brothers, and that was the first big e-discovery case. So
Yeah,
getting that opportunity really changed the trajectory of my career for the better. And after 22 years there, I went to Goldman Sachs to build an e-discovery program to run that. And I also worked in the litigation group on cases. And after 11 years there, so that was, I guess I'm almost up to 35 years. I took the job as general counsel of Simplify and used all of the things that I had learned working at a law firm and seeing how law firms relate to their service providers, then working in-house, understanding that other side of the triangle. So now I feel like I'm at the base, the third side of the triangle, putting the two together, and I'm able to give some perspective from the client side here at Simplify.
that's really interesting. I've never heard it communicated that way. Law firms, one side of a triangle in-house, and then service providers connecting law firms and their clients. So what lessons have you learned as as you're rounding out the third side of the triangle here? What have you taken from each of the other two legs?
I have to say, everyone really is like-minded when they're in the practice of law or adjacent to the practice of law, that we have to get the work done to meet deadlines, to make sure that the clients are getting what they need, because it is, driven by the law and court systems and discovery deadlines and all of
Yeah,
that. So I
yeah,
feel that the uh, the oars are all going in the same way to sort of, drive things forward. It's just that everyone has a little bit of a different perspective.
yeah.
So sometimes I can just um, put in a little bit of nuance to unveil something, to show a client how the sausage is being made at
Hmm.
Simplify, or to speak with our delivery team about what our clients are really looking for and why certain things are important to them, because it's never bad will or people trying not to do good work.
Yeah.
It's just maybe something is being missed or not understood, a nuance, something that is unique to the perspective.
So are your clients primarily the in-house legal departments or the law firms, or how do the three in the context of Simplify and how you service your customers, how do they relate?
We have both corporate clients and law firm clients, and those clients bring the other side to us. So if we have a corporate client, they're bringing their law firms to us. If we have a
Got it.
law firm client, they're bringing their corporate clients. So
Yeah.
it's almost in almost every situation, there's all three sides.
Yeah. Got it. So you've held leadership positions at major companies like Goldman Sachs. What are some key leadership lessons you've learned while managing legal teams and navigating complex legal environments?
The best advice I received was from my mentor at Goldman Sachs, who told me, you have to come to the table with yes,
Mm,
even if then you have caveats about what you need from somebody to get to yes.
yeah.
But you have to come to the table with that positive attitude. Yes, we can do that, but in order to do that, we
Yeah.
need, A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really a customer service um, viewpoint, right?
Yeah.
So no matter in the law, if you're a lawyer in a law firm or in a corporation, or you're a service provider dealing with legal technology, people are in a customer service industry.
Yeah.
And you have to come with that positive attitude of, we can get this done. It may not be exactly what you're thinking, but if we can achieve these hurdles, we can deliver for you.
And I just wonder why it's we have become the profession of no, or the department of no. I mean, it's so hard to fight against, but if you can do it successfully, the reception that you get from your business counterparts is just is very warm, because it can be an obstructive process as being a lawyer, and trying to, make sure we're managing risk well, but also achieving the business objectives. So, as general counsel at Simplify, how do you balance the strategic and operational responsibilities that come with the role, especially in a rapidly growing company?
It's interesting for me because this is really the first time I've firmly been on the business side, and understanding and developing our strategic initiatives and then trying to move the company toward them has been very interesting to me. We have a fabulous team. Our CEO, Mark Zamsky, our CTO, Ari Pearlstein, our executive chairman, Steve Harbour. They are amazing business partners, and we all come to the table with a little bit of a different background. And so we collaborate together. And I've always thought that it's better to have a collaboration amongst people who don't see things always the same way,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
then you get to the best decision. And so, in a very respectful and collaborative way, we bring different things to the table. When we come to a conclusion, we feel very firmly that it's a good one. But we are always open to pivoting. And I think you have to be nimble and listen to your employees and hear what they're saying about how they think the company should be directed. But then in the end, it's really up to the leadership to say, okay, this is the way we're going to do it, and try to achieve those goals.
Yeah. So in that executive team or leadership team, what do you think your style is, or what do you think you bring to the table that may counterbalance other personalities or perspectives?
Well, I definitely have the risk perspective.
Yeah.
So, as the lawyer, I am always thinking, as we always do, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
Which is why we're often not beloved people. But I definitely am and constantly thinking about what risk we have, whether the decisions increase or decrease our risk. And so I'm not the most creative or innovative, but I think it's important to have that perspective.
Do you have an approach that you take to kind of characterizing risk? I used to speak with the CFO that I worked with closely a few years back, and we would talk often about magnitude of the risk and likelihood of the risk. High magnitude, high likelihood. You're really careful. Low magnitude, low likelihood. You've got pretty close to a green light. A lot of things fall in between, and so I found that as a kind of helpful framework to characterize risk for the business folks. Do you do something similar, or do you, or how do you think you approach situations like that in a systematic way?
I love that approach. I'm going to adopt that. Thank you for sharing that with me. So I will point out the risks. It's
Yeah,
very rare that I'll say, yeah, I really think we shouldn't do that. It's more
yeah,
of that same yes, but how do
yeah,
we? These are the things that we should do to achieve the goal. In
yeah,
the end, also, lawyers just acting as lawyers are are pointing out issues and risks, but the CEOs don't always have to follow our guidance, right?
yeah,
They may have a different risk appetite. And so I'm very respectful of that. If, you know, the CEO says, okay, I hear you, I understand you, but I think we should move forward with this.
yeah.
I understand that my role is to point out the risk and to allow him to really make that decision with my input and everyone else's input. But I will say we as a group are generally on the same page.
Yeah, that's great. And if you can get to a place where you're identifying the risk and also proposing the solutions. That's value add, right? And that's no longer being obstructionist. That's just a way to find solutions and add value. So Simplify is at the forefront of integrating technology with legal services, particularly in e-discovery and contract analytics, as you mentioned. How do you see technology shaping the future of legal departments and law firms?
So interesting. When I started 4 years ago, we were using technologies that had been in existence for a long time. We were innovating, we were building to solve people's problems, but they were very similar technologies that had been in existence. In the 4 years I've been there, it happens. I was just this lucky that it's been the AI evolution.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we are adopting AI in everything we do,
Yeah.
document review and contract analytic model building, um, and and organizing and sorting a lot of documents for, depositions, discovery, trial purposes. There's so much new AI that we vet, and we offer and we use and we do pilots. And so what I thought was, you know, obvious to me and just another e-discovery company that I was going to be able to master and understand everything in no time.
Yeah.
AI exploded, and so it's added just another level of excitement to my
Yeah.
job. I
It's
don't know
it's
how I got so lucky, like twice in my career, to be at these technological pivot points, but I am
yeah.
grateful for, the technology gods because it's
Yeah.
been good to me.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, there's so much that I can do now with ChatGPT. I mean, I'm starting to appreciate how far-reaching the tool can be. I mean, when it comes to creating questions for a podcast episode, or or sending out emails requesting reviews from clients. I mean, ChatGPT can get you started. How advanced it's going to get is just going to be so interesting to see, because it's already pretty. I'm already surprised when I use it, and there's just the potential is almost limitless. So can you tell us about some of the technological advancements that are transforming the legal industry today from your perspective, and how you're leveraging those innovations to improve efficiency at Simplify?
Yes, so I'll give you a few examples. On the contract side, we can take tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of contracts, and answer questions about them by building models and using artificial intelligence. For example, let's say you have a data breach and you have thousands of customer contracts and you want to know what your obligations for notification are. Or you're in an M&A situation and you have to do due diligence.
Yeah.
Instead of having armies of young lawyers read these contracts and then provide you with an Excel spreadsheet and all of that, we can build the models to answer the questions, and it's more accurate and more efficient. Not
Yeah.
to say it eliminates the human value, because humans have to QC what the technology is able to do, but it reduces error and increases efficiency.
Yeah. We're using Counsel through Thomson Reuters, and you can create databases there. And we've started creating databases of, all of our customer contracts for this particular client on counterparty paper. What have we agreed to, kind of characterize, indemnification provisions. Where have we agreed to 3x 12 month revenue on a cap for indemnification obligations, and it just there's a lot of potential there that I could see Simplify taking advantage of. So
And on the
what trends?
e-discovery side, we've been using AI in a few ways. One, relativity's error, which is a way to through iterative prompt engineering, finding what you're looking for in your documents, whether it's your own collection or opposing counsel's production, with increasing efficiency and accuracy there. In fact, I recently had to respond to a third-party subpoena. So our tech team was very excited because they could do a little bake-off between the review that I did myself
Yeah.
and the computer, and the computer and I only disagreed on something like 56 documents. Um, but
Out
that
of
showed that,
yeah,
how good, I mean, assuming that I did a good job, how good the
sure.
computer was.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. So as someone deeply involved in legal tech and information governance, what are some of the biggest challenges companies face when adopting new technologies in their legal operations?
I think companies are, on the one hand, very interested in adopting AI, and the C-suite is interested in it for reducing risk, reducing cost of human uh, employees, and also they understand it can increase accuracy. On the other hand, they are equally afraid that they're going to have unintended consequences, things that they hadn't really thought through. So what I'm seeing in a lot of our clients, and I think it makes good sense, is they have some governance over that. They have a committee. They have people who vet and think about the technology, who approve it before it's deployed. And I think that makes great sense.
Yeah. So managing a legal department during times of growth, like the expansion you've experienced to Simplify, comes with unique challenges. What strategies have you employed to ensure legal operations scale effectively alongside business growth?
So internally, as our own business, we
Yeah,
do use our own stuff, right? So I
yeah,
have a CLM. I've built a contract repository. I use that in terms of looking for information and scoring for me third-party paper, and it's been tremendously helpful. So we do that. I also sometimes use outside counsel if I have something that's really dicey. And then our parent corporation has one working lawyer who's an employment lawyer, and she's very helpful with those issues. So, it's not one size fits all. It depends on what's going on. And I've
yeah.
really pushed myself to learn new things, I have to say. I have to file a proof of claim in a bankruptcy that a client is reorganizing. And I reached out to a lawyer to see if they could do it for me, and they never responded. So I'm like, I think I can do this myself. And so I'm pushing myself to
Yeah.
to learn new things, which is interesting.
It's one of the great things I think about the legal profession. There's always an opportunity to develop a new skill, learn something different. There's never short of opportunities to learn. You've built a distinguished career in legal technology and law. What advice would you give to junior lawyers or those interested in pursuing a career at the intersection of law and technology?
I think the practice of law will necessarily include the understanding of technology. Whether
Yeah,
you're a transactional lawyer, a litigator, or anything in between, this is now just part of being a lawyer.
yeah,
So I think it's a necessary understanding. But beyond that, for people who want to specialize in law and technology, there's a lot of different avenues, whether it's IP or discovery. But my advice, and what served me well, was when somebody gives you an opportunity to do something that nobody else wants to do, take it,
yeah,
because you're going to become an expert.
yeah, yeah. And I think there's I'd be interested to hear your take on how you've seen technology and particularly companies like Simplify that are connecting outside counsel with their in-house clients, how you've seen the role of those companies evolve over time and the use of technology evolve over time. I mean, it's certainly forefront in what you're doing at Simplify. Could you kind of characterize how you've seen the evolution of the technology application in law and what you see going forward?
Yes. So at the beginning, when technology really invaded the practice of law, people didn't want to become knowledgeable. They were afraid of it. They let people like me just do it.
Yeah,
And they were grateful to hand it over because they didn't want to learn it.
yeah,
That all changed, new generations of lawyers coming up, being more comfortable with technology. But even I'm going to go with five years ago, a lot of corporations were afraid to go too far to the leading edge of the use of technology. That's, like computer assisted review, using the computer to make decisions. And in the last 2 years, I think even those sort of old time staid corporations that we all know, a lot of blue chips, right? They have been moving forward to, even if they're not adopting the most forward technology today, they're adopting what they were afraid of 5 years ago.
interesting. Can you provide an example of one of those types of tools that they may have been slower to adopt in the past?
Yes, so a lot of companies were afraid to use TAR, technology assisted review, where the
Yeah,
computer is suggesting results
yeah, yeah,
based on your decision making. And even if they were using it, there was a tremendous amount of QC and sometimes double human review because there was just so much trepidation. Now that there's AI, maybe those same companies are like, okay, I'm not ready for AI, but now I'm going to use technology assisted review because that's not the bleeding edge
yeah.
anymore.
Right, right. At Simplify, what practices do you encourage of your clients when it comes to quality control and checking, making sure errors aren't made? That can be a slippery slope, but then it starts feeling like, well, I've got to. Well, why do we use this tool in the first place? If I'm gonna have to check it and go over it, I mean, I would have done that I would have done that from the get-go without this tool. How do you find that balance between, supplementing an AI or technology tool versus having it, replace the lawyer altogether?
Well, I think technology is an adjunct to the human, right? We use technology to be more accurate and more efficient. It's not a replacement.
Yeah,
So there still has to be some human control over the output. It does depend on, the kind of matter, the risk appetite of the client, but we do a lot of different types of QC, whether it's looking for information that is particularly sensitive to make sure that's been coded properly, looking for particularly interesting information, doing random sampling, all of that,
yeah.
using statistical analysis to make sure that the output is what's expected.
And as a user of AI, you start to get a bit of a gut feeling of like, okay, what do I need to go check? Okay, there's a specific reference to a fact there, or a name. Do I know where to go to verify that this information is accurate? I think as we all get more comfortable using these types of tools, you develop a bit of a sense on what you need to verify. So given your experience, what are the most important qualities a general counsel should possess today, particularly as industries evolve and technology plays a bigger role?
Well, I'm not going to say that I have all these qualities, but the qualities that I would say is you have to have some facility with technology, or at least have advisors
Yeah.
who can help you with that. The whole legal operations community is a beautiful adjunct to the practicing lawyer. And as general counsel, it's almost like being a little bit of um, therapist, so you have to listen to all different sides and help to guide and clarify a resolution. There's you can't really avoid the human condition, and people aren't always going to see eye to eye. So somehow a lot of issues wind up on the general counsel's desk that have nothing really to do with the law.
Yeah, and to the extent that you can develop a skill set that's relationship based and emotionally intelligent and empathetic and all the buzzwords that are the soft skills these days, it goes a long way, and you can tell when someone's honed those skills. So lastly, looking ahead, what are some of the emerging trends or challenges you see in the legal field over the next 5 to 10 years, and how can legal teams prepare for them?
Well, we see that everything's moving to the cloud.
Uh,
So I think people have to become very comfortable with that. There's still some people who are dragging their feet and maybe, not fully understanding the nature of what the cloud is. Cybersecurity is paramount. If you don't have your cybersecurity, you don't have anything.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that is increasingly challenging and something that people have to stay on top of. It's really square one. Um, Artificial intelligence is going to continue to evolve and keep getting smarter. So data sets are going to continue to explode, and the adoption of these technologies is going to be required.
yeah. It's really it's great to have you on, because we do get another perspective from someone who's connecting the law firms with their clients, and providing a service in a really innovative space. So thank you for joining us, sharing your perspective. We wish you and Simplify all the best.
Thank you, Brian. It was such a pleasure to talk to you.